If you're anything like me, when you see a chart that's just rows and columns of random numbers, my eyes just start to glaze over and I don't know what I'm looking at and I can't make heads or tails of it. But once you add some color and some different font sizes and some bold fonts and make the chart look readable, that's just so much better. Unfortunately, Excel doesn't just do that for you automatically. You have to do it. So how do you do that in Excel? I'm Brian the Bean Counter, and I'm going to show you how. Here's my sample sheet of 18 rows of random numbers. This table is pretty drab. It really doesn't look like a whole lot. What I want it to look like is this. So how do you get from this to this? Well, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do, I want to get totals for all of these columns. So I'm going to click in cell A20 and come up here and click the auto sum button and click it again and I'll get my total. Now I'm going to take this fill handle, the little black square in the bottom right, and I'm going to drag it all the way across, and it's going to fill that formula all the way across, but it's going to make the formula relative to the column that it's in. So each one of these is a total of the column above it. Now I'm going to add my title. So I'm going to right click on the number 1 here, this row heading, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to click insert. And I'm going to click it one more time, insert, so that I get some space up here. Now I called this first quarter ice cream sales. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. First quarter ice cream sales. All right, well, that's nothing to look at. So what I want to do is highlight cells A1 through D1. I want this title to go no further than cell D1. So I want it to be confined within cells A1 through D1. I'm going to come up and click this button here. This is called Merge and Center. So it's going to take all 4 of those cells, A1, B1, C1, D1, and it's going to merge them into just one cell. And it's going to center my first quarter ice cream sales right inside of that new cell. So this is just one cell now. Next, I'm going to change the font. So first I'm going to change it to 18-point font. And we'll leave it as Aptos Narrow. So it kind of cut off the title, but I'll address that in a few minutes. So the next thing I want to do is I want these numbers to represent, I want these numbers to look more like dollars, like currency. So if I come up here and click the comma button, it's going to give it the comma style. So it will format it with a thousands separator. So if you click this, you immediately see, okay, yeah, this looks more like we're talking about dollars. Down here for my totals, I want to do a little more than that. I want dollar signs down here. So it's going to put the commas in and also a dollar sign at the front. All right, now you see that automatically kind of stretched out my columns so that everything fits, and now you can see the first quarter ice cream sales up at the top. First quarter ice cream sales, I want that to be red font with a yellow background. If you look up here, this A with the underline, that is going to be your font color. So you can have all these different colors here. You have recent colors. You can click more colors and go to this kind of grid here. You can even use the hexadecimal value, the hex value of the color specifically. But for right now, I'm just going to do red. And then this with the paint bucket, this is your background, the background of whatever cell you have selected. So I want that to be yellow, and I want it to be bold. So already things are starting to take shape here. I also want my totals to be bold, and let's make them also 18-point font. I want each one of these columns to have its own color. So we'll make this one, again, we don't want the A with the red line under it. That would change the actual text. We want the paint bucket, which will change the background. So let's make this one a light blue. Let's make this one a light green. kind of going for ice cream. To me, these are ice creamy type colors. This one will make it a light pink. And this one a light yellow. Also, I want each of these columns to show what month they're in. So I'm going to click right here in row 3 and do insert. And it'll add a row above it. And now I'm going to go type January, February, March, and April. But I'm going to do it kind of a quicker way. If I type January and I click in January and then I click my fill handle and I grab it and drag across, it's guessing that I'm typing, that I want to type the months of the year. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. So it actually filled in January, February, March, April. If I kept going, it would keep going, May, June, July, and so on. And then I'm going to center the months of the year. And let's make them bold. Let's make them 16-point font. So let's give them the same color as the column that they're in. Now there is maybe a quicker way to do this, or sometimes you maybe can't remember the exact color. I'm looking here, I'm like, oh, which one did I pick? There is a quick way to do this using the format painter, and I'll create a separate video of how to use the format painter. So now we're done. We've taken a drab group of numbers, just columns and rows of random numbers, and when we turned it into something readable with some simple formatting in Excel. Much more pleasant and easier on the eyes to look at a chart like this instead of the one that we started with. I hope this has been helpful for you, and if it has, please like and subscribe. And if there's something else you would like to know how to do in Microsoft Excel, please leave a comment below. And thanks for watching.